Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode of an Evolved Review. I am your host, James Caleb Kitchens, and I, as always, am joined each and every week by the man who consumes more wrestling content than anyone in the known universe, none other than straight from the SWN, Caleb Stovall. Welcome back, man.
I'm hoping that by the time, WWE's on Peacock, that statement hasn't floundered a little bit.
Yeah, man, because that shit's gonna be rough. Uh,
It's gonna be bad.
if you haven't checked it out, check out our last episode. We did the state of wrestling as of April 2021. Every couple of months we like to do an episode. There's so many podcasts that are, going so deep into everything that's going on in like WWE, AEW every week. That's never been our forte, but every now and then we just want to comment on the general state of things and how we think wrestling's going. So that episode was last week. It's really fun. It's full of a bunch of shenanigans. I make up a bunch of random product placements that don't exist. And we talked about everything, man. We even talked about some Impact, which is rare unless we're doing some like 2007 stuff. So, but we went in depth about WrestleMania, and we went in depth about the Peacock deal, which is going to be great for shareholders, and I think terrible for all of us. So,
Yes.
yeah, so we'll see. But today this is the grand finale. We're covering the final bit of the Ring of Honor Pure Tournament. We've been covering this, it feels like all year. Um, but here we are. We're covering the very last bit of this, and this is the last two episodes. So if you're trying to find these on Fight TV to check them out, I highly recommend watching them before we're listening to the rest of this episode if you haven't already. And that's going to be Ring of Honor 475 and 476. So we're covering the semifinals, which is Jonathan Gresham and Josh Woods, as well as Tracy Williams and Jay Lethal. And then we're also going to cover the finale, which crowns the new Ring of Honor Pure Champion. Um, Before we get into that, man, I just want to say this tournament has really made me a fan of Ring of Honor. And I really hope that if there's anybody out there that has been following along on our coverage of it and watched it because of our podcast, that's the whole reason we cover this, folks, is we wanted to expose you to it. Caleb has been trying to get me to watch this shit for forever. So
have I have, and if we're talking about the Peacock deal and everything like that, if Ring of Honor has a pretty good library themselves. They have a bunch of matches that have never seen the light of day. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm sure people have seen them. Maybe they weren't too invested in them at the time or something like that. But they have a lot of matches that you might not know about from some of the top guys in the industry today that you see on WWE or AEW, such as Bryan Danielson, Seth Rollins, Tyler Black, Nigel McGuinness, your guy Samoa Joe. This is where he made his name. You could say Impact Wrestling and whatnot, but he really made a name for himself in Ring of Honor. He helped put Ring of Honor on the map.
the
And
Samoa
plus,
Joe and CM Punk Ring of Honor feud is one of the greatest feuds in all of wrestling, I think.
yes, it was very good. And this is where CM Punk, really made a name for himself. I mean, and obviously you can say that he made a bigger name for himself in WWE, but that's a bigger platform, obviously. I'm talking about for a company that wasn't very well known at the time. These guys really helped put it on the map. They got people talking about not just them, but they got people talking about Ring of Honor as well. And like I said, I saw them live in Atlanta. So if you ever get the chance to go see Ring of Honor whenever the pandemic, hopefully normalizes and people can go back to events and stuff like that, and they start touring again, I really encourage people go watch Ring of Honor. I really think people sleep on it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I will say this. This has been a very eye-opening, enlightening experience for me. I haven't watched Ring of Honor probably since some of the Samoa Joe days. Not seriously. I mean, this tournament has been incredible. I really like their enforcing of the rules. I like the pure rules. I wish they could have done it in front of a crowd because I hate crowdless wrestling, but this has been really good. It's been a nice palate cleanser, even though there's no audience there, and I think this would be amazing with an audience. This tournament has featured 15 incredible wrestlers and Tony Deppen. So, you know, it's been good. It's been great. I've been waiting all day to make that joke.
I'm
So,
sure you have.
yeah. If you missed it, go back to whatever episode it was. I think it was probably the fourth episode that we did. Yeah. I ranted about this guy. I went on a Jim Cornette trash fest for like 5 minutes. It's great. It's a great part. I actually let Ace listen to it. For those listening, a superhero homie Q from the Superhero Homies podcast. Uh,
Cool.
and when I got done ranting about it, and you just went, I don't have anything else to add to that. He lost his mind, dude. He really did.
Yeah,
So
you played Jim Cornette. I played Brian Last. I had nothing to offer.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was fantastic.
Oh, I just had to get that one in there.
You did, yeah. I don't know what Brian Last is doing there.
I don't know either. I can't stand it. But thank God we're not talking about those guys. We're talking about something actually pretty good.
That's true. Speaking of Jim Cornette, who used to book Ring of Honor, back to the Ring of Honor tournament.
Yeah.
So the first match here, Josh Woods, Jonathan Gresham. Um, I gotta say, man, out of all the people that are in this tournament, Josh Woods is probably one of the people I knew the least about, and I've really become a fan.
Yeah.
I think he could be in NXT. I think he's TV ready anywhere, honestly. And
Yeah.
his name's fun as fuck to say, Josh the Goods Woods.
Yeah. It sells itself pretty much. I mean, dude, he's got a personality to him.
Yeah,
But and while he might act a little goofy at times, it's still just like I'm not going to tell him he's goofy.
right. I mean, the thing is, it's really difficult. A lot of people don't understand. I mean, a lot of people even in the business don't understand. You don't have 30 minutes to go through and explain a manifesto about your character. You have from the time your music hits until the time the bell rings to explain to people who you are, and that's difficult to portray that. And then you have the minutes during the match to further explain that. And Josh Woods, I think, does a good job with that. It's very difficult to convey a character like that, especially through a television. It's hard to do it live, and it's even harder to do it through a camera.
Yes, very much so. And especially when you got so little time to do it, like you said.
And speaking of that, I want to go ahead and just get to this. Jonathan Gresham, speaking of storytelling, man, does his face in this match not just tell the damn story? His facial expressions are off the charts in this match.
Yes. Yeah, dude, I hadn't seen a lot of Gresham matches. I mean, the matches that I did see, I mostly saw with Jay Lethal as his tag team partner, pretty much because they're a tag team in Ring of Honor. I also got to see him a little bit when I saw them in Atlanta, but I only saw him in like an 8-man tag match. It was either an 8-man or a 10-man tag match. It was a great way to end the show and everything like that. So, I've been very impressed by him. I'm like, dude, this guy's the real deal.
Yeah, I agreed. Gresham's really good. He's always been really good in the ring. What's evolved is his character work and his
Yes.
ability just to tell a story, and especially in a situation like this where there's no crowd and you're this deep into a tournament, 3 rounds deep, and you're trying to tell this story. I thought he did a really good job. Um, there's a point in this match where, the Woods have been working the wrist of Gresham, and he grabs the wrist while Gresham, I think, is on the top rope, and the look on Gresham's face was just so great. His facial expression, it just blew me away. Um, this one was really good, had a lot of energy to it, and then Gresham ends up getting the win with the sunset flip, which I thought was interesting because it sort of speaks to his ability as a ring veteran to catch Woods off guard, and it also doesn't make Josh Woods look like shit because I think he's the underdog out of the 4 people left in the tournament right now.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. And you were talking about points in the match. There was one point in the matchup. It's kind of at the very beginning, but like they're in kind of like submission holds and stuff like that, and Gresham goes for the ropes, and when he goes out to the outside, Caprice Coleman was in the middle of talking, and then Caprice just goes, and Gresham just used one of the ropes. That's
Yeah.
what his first rope break in the tournament, which was a very crucial thing because again, you only get 3 of them. And if we're looking at this from a story standpoint, it's kind of like, I'm afraid now to touch the ropes because now
Right.
it's like, damn it, like, I only got 3 of them and I need those for later on in the matchup. And
Yeah.
I just, that's psychology 101, but you have to have those kind of rules in order to have that psychology, I think.
And they have to be enforced.
Yeah, exactly.
It can't
Exactly.
be like these are the rules and then they're ignored.
Exactly.
That's not a shot at AEW or anything.
For
It
a lot
might
of
it
matches,
probably
yeah.
it probably feels like one, but it's not.
Well, in the Attitude Era, they did the same thing, but we all loved it.
Agreed. It's like I feel like in WCW and WWF back then, it was like there was this like weird thing where it was like sometimes it was okay to hit somebody with a foreign object if they were outside of the ring, or to like interfere in the match if you're outside the ring. But if you're inside the ring, it's okay. It's not okay. It's against the rules. But it was like it was never really clear. It was like they just kind of made that shit up as they were going along.
Well, and that's true. And it's funny that you say this, right? Because I was watching an old Mankind versus The Undertaker match, right? Okay. I think pretty much by the time, whenever those two locked up, this is advertised as a regular match, but it's kind of like those two characters are just so violent in nature or something like that it was kind of to make the point of, all right, this is not going to be normal every time these two touch. It's like, yes, we have all these rules and stuff, but these guys are not going to follow it, and we need winners, so just let them fight, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Is,
That
is
was
that
how
what
it went.
you do?
Is that okay? Do you
Yeah,
think?
like kind of like it's kind of like there's a reason for it. Whereas in AEW, or in not just AEW, but a lot of other places, it's like fuck it kind of thing,
I think it needs to be established, right? It needs to be
Right.
like a somebody needs to come out and say, okay, well, Mankind and Undertaker every time they're in the ring together, it's no holds barred or whatever, you know. Um, or you make that a storyline where every time they face each other, there's a DQ, and then finally they're just like, fuck it. Um, but
Yeah, yeah,
but doing it the way it's done in AEW, where the booking just ignores the rules and the rules follow the booking and not the other way around, is fucking garbage. And I think it makes it hard to follow at home. And I think for those of us like ourselves who are really into it, and really know the psychology, I think it just ruins it
yeah.
ultimately.
And I can say that, and I can see that.
So anyway, there was an awesome EC3 Shane Taylor promo in the middle of this. I'm not really going to go into it. We're really just talking about the tournament today, but um, the 6-man tag with the Briscoes and everything in the next episode is fantastic. So I will just say go give it a watch. The Briscoes are amazing. I'm also a huge fan of Shane Taylor. Um, anyway, moving on. We've got Jay Lethal versus Tracy Williams in the semifinals.
Yes,
Is this not the best match in the tournament?
it's so fucking good.
I'm not
There-
a fan of long matches typically. I think this is the longest match in the tournament. This match was 19 minutes 29 seconds.
yeah, yeah. It went down to the wire basically, which was obviously what they wanted. Dude, this match, you talk about psychology. This was psychology 101 pretty much. Like, dude, Tracy Williams selling the shoulder that's been hurting him and stuff like that. Jay Lethal at one point threw an insecurity kick strictly to the shoulder. He didn't, try to do it to the head or anything. He just strictly hit the shoulder. And like even when like Tracy Williams was like down and Jay Lethal was trying to do the right thing, so to speak, he even looked at him like, "What the hell are you doing? Come and get me! Like this is a match. Come on!" Like, oh, it's so good, man. Just
I,
oh my god.
I really loved this. I love the lead into this that's been building through the entire tournament, where you have Lethal, who has won both of his matches with Lethal Injection. You have Williams, who's won with the pile driver. And so in this match, it comes down to where they both do a falsie based on that. You've got Williams hitting the pile driver, and then Lethal has to use his last rope break to get out of it. And then Lethal hits Lethal Injection on Williams, and Williams has to use his last rope break to get out of it. So you've got both these guys. You've built these moves up that they're going to finish you with. And then you've shown that they're not going to finish the other guy. And they've also had to use these to use up all their rope breaks. So they've shown that these two guys have pushed each other to the absolute limit in this match. Because I think with Gresham, he had an underdog that he was facing. But with these two guys, it was a veteran and then a guy that's already proven himself. He's up and comer, but he's proven himself. Hot Sauce Tracy Williams is amazing. He's one of my favorites on the Indies right now.
Yes.
I
Yes.
loved this. Everything about it.
I loved everything about it, and I also loved the narrative kind of go. I loved how I'm not gonna say swerve because a swerve is basically something out of nowhere kind of thing, but I liked how they kind of teased the fact that it looked like it was a foregone conclusion. All right, Gresham versus Lethal. That's what the end of this tournament is going to be, and then it was kind of like, nope, like nope, that's not what it was kind of thing. Like they went with Tracy Williams instead to face Gresham. And I dude, I loved everything about this. Like and I also thought like as far as from an episode point of view, this is the best episode that this was the best episode that ROH had done from front to back since launching, even with this tournament. And this was also another time where I felt like the the two matches actually went in the right order. Like we put Gresham versus Woods on, which was a good match, but it wasn't, near what this was kind of thing. Like this one went longer, felt like there was more to it than I guess the other one, I guess. I don't know, but I felt like this one, I felt like this one they got the order right. You get what I'm saying?
Right. I absolutely agree. Yeah.
Like I thought this was a good episode. Like if anyone, if any episode, if people are like, well, I don't really want to watch the whole tournament, just tell me what matches are good. Watch this entire episode. That's what I say.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. This entire episode is like, if there was anything to do with the tournament that I really wanted to, just show somebody one episode that epitomizes all of it, it would definitely be this.
Yeah, because
So
you had the pure technical, wrestling aspect that Ring of Honor is known for and stuff like that. But then they were also like, okay, now that we've kind of reintroduced you to us, here is something a little bit more extreme that you might like. They had a little bit more story with Matt Taven and Vincent. So, you kind of got the best of both worlds from a wrestling point of view, in my opinion.
yeah, um, agreed. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And when Williams gets that crossface locked in, it was just like Lethal's got nowhere to go. He's got no road breaks left. Amazing storytelling, and it felt like this was the final of the tournament almost. Like you could tell that these guys fought so damn hard because Lethal has such a storied history here with the Pure Championship, with this tournament in general, with wanting, him and Gresham both wanted to be the final guys in the tournament, and Tracy Williams basically saying, that's not going to happen. You're not stepping on my dream with yours. It was great. It was classic storytelling, classic psychology, and it was done well. And I can't believe that I'm saying how rare this is in wrestling today, but it just is. It just is.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the final.
Okay.
Um, Jonathan Gresham, Tracy Williams, the Octopus versus Hot Sauce.
Yes.
Ring of Honor. This is 476, folks. Um, my opinion on this match, it's not as good as the Tracy Williams and Jay Lethal match, but it's not the same match either. You know, it's got a different feel to it. This is the big time match. Um, I love how they gave this a really. It had a really big, like, big fight feel.
Yes.
Um, they go right at it immediately when the bell rings.
Yeah.
I always love that in a big match. I loved the in-ring introductions. They've been doing in-ring, but they really like gave it that big fight feel this time. Um, we had Gresham entering this match with the injured wrist from the previous episode. We have Williams entering this match with a hurt shoulder. He's got the shoulder brace. Uh, Gresham's got the wrist taped up. So we got two guys that are battle worn going into this championship match. Both of them are incredibly good. Both of them have proven themselves throughout this tournament and beyond. What did you think about the lead in for this?
You know me, I loved it. I loved any time that you can create a big fight feel, which I think a lot of they've done throughout this tournament, but especially when you come down to like the final matchup, it has to have that the just if there was a crowd, the crowd would be hyped kind of thing. They'd be like, all right, this is the final one, like this is big fight feel, this is for it all. When you watch like something as simple as like say MasterChef, that's hosted by Gordon Ramsay, when it comes down to that final episode, he creates that final, like, okay, this is your final competition, this is for it all kind of thing. And I really thought that they got that right, and I think they've been doing that so good this whole entire tournament. And I think Ring of Honor does that a lot, by the way. I think that they always do a good job of creating a big fight feel to it, which, in my opinion, has been lost a lot, especially in WWE. I mean, when you've got guys going out there, like say you've got Roman Reigns versus whoever, and it's literally Friday night, Sunday night, Friday night, Sunday night, doesn't create a big fight feel anymore, you
Right.
know? And AEW, I think they do okay at times, unless you're exploding the ring. But
Man, we're not letting that shit go ever.
I can't even let that go. And I'm a fan of AEW, but yeah, man, I loved it. I love the big fight feel, and then like you said, I loved how they just started going off right off the bat.
Yeah, I like how both of these guys pulled stuff out of their arsenal in this match that we had not seen from them at all during the tournament. The one of the points in the match that really interested me is, Williams whips Gresham into the corner. Gresham pops the corner and immediately comes out, spears the dog shit out of Tracy Williams. You haven't seen this man use a spear in his damn tournament, not one time. And so the look on Williams' face was great too, and commentary did a great job of helping to tell this story. It's always so good to hear these guys. I mean, to hear Riccaboni and Coleman on commentary, it's always so good because they're doing their jobs. They're actually there's a guy calling the match and there's a guy that's doing color, and it's just
And
it's a simple formula. Why I don't know why
and
people can't adhere to it.
If Ian Riccaboni didn't show that he's probably one of the best in this whole entire tournament, this line did, and I can't. I think it was actually against Lethal that he said this, but Williams comes with the drop kick on the outside, and Ian Riccaboni just goes, "Baby, I'm coming home with the hot sauce."
I loved that line. I absolutely died for that.
I was just like, oh my God. Dude, I got another one for you. He hasn't used it in this one, but he used it one time that automatically made me go, okay, Ian Riccaboni is the greatest announcer in the business today, which was when this guy, he rolled away from someone on the mat and he said this, and I'm not joking. I quote, like the great Fred Durst says, he's rolling, rolling, rolling.
Jesus. That reference, how he had to call he had to dial the area code on that one. Long distance. Jesus Christ.
I don't know, dude, but he just comes up with like great things. Like sometimes someone will knock someone out, and he'll go, "Oh, Mama said knock you out."
Yeah, Gresham, not Gresham, Coleman and Riccaboni both have great one-liners all the
Yeah,
time. I really like them as a commentary team.
I
I
really do.
think I think I like them better than any other team right now.
Dude, I agree because in WWE, I don't know who's a good announcer anymore because they have to be marred with all of this advertising that they have to do, and then they have to call it a certain way.
Samoa
You know,
Joe. That's it. Samoa Joe.
there you go. There you go. And then in AEW, it's like you've got the greatest announcer of all time, arguably, with Jim Ross. And it's just like I really think that he should just, be able to be JR. But you've got another guy, Excalibur, who it's not very clear to him that, hey, let JR call the action, and you're sort of like the Mike Tenay of the group. Like, stop calling the damn moves. Like, and
Mm.
then Tony Schiavone, I mean, he's amazing, but all he does is really just bullshit the whole time, which is I have no problem with. But with Ring of Honor, like with these two, you actually get a feel of like announcing. Like it feels like they're actually announcing a match.
Yeah, I think if it was just Ross and Shivani on the program, it would go a lot better.
I think it would
Um,
too.
they literally just have Excalibur there to call all these off the wall fucking move names that these guys are doing all the time. That's literally the only reason he's there.
Yeah, but and I agree, but yet he talks more than JR.
He does.
It's
He does.
always been my
But
problem with him.
Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone can't say Tope Suicida, so that's the problem. That's why Excalibur's there. And it's dumb.
Well, they don't need to say Tope Suicida. You don't
Right.
have to say that stupid shit.
Right. That is the answer right there. But all right, we're not going down this rabbit hole. Let's get back to the that will be 40 minutes me talking about the fucking problems with AEW.
Of course.
Gresham runs out of rope breaks. So I really love this whole sequence where Williams, shades of the previous match with Lethal, he goes for the pile driver. The shoulder's injured, he can't do it. They work around a little bit. He finally gets the pile driver. He finally gets him up, hits it, boom. Gresham uses his last rope break on the pile driver. This is exactly the way that he beat Lethal in the previous match. So you're like, Gresham's in trouble. He's never been pushed to use all his rope breaks in this tournament.
Right.
He's seldom had to use them at all. And so we get here, and all of a sudden, it's like Gresham has nowhere to go. But Williams makes the mistake of trying to get that submission. And Gresham, hold for hold in mat wrestling, can't be outdone. I don't think there's anybody right now. And he ends up in the octopus stretch with that hurt shoulder. And, dude, that shit looked awful.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just see the bone just ugh. I hope
Yeah.
Tracy Williams is double jointed and they worked that. Otherwise, he's probably had to have surgery on that shit.
Yeah. I think he's okay considering he's still wrestling now. So.
I think he's fine. It looked awful. It just looked absolutely awful. But yeah, octopus stretch for the win. Jonathan Gresham wins it all, and he is your brand new pure champion, man. What do you think about him winning the title? Is he who you would have wanted to see win? Would you have wanted to see Williams pull it out?
I'll be honest. I did want to see Williams pull it out because I really want to see him get his just due, but I'm hoping that they have even bigger plans for him down the road because, like I said, I think if you're Ring of Honor and right now what you're facing is you're like, all right, we can't beat AEW because production wise and talent wise, they have us beat right now. They're basically owning the wrestling world right now. So we can't be AEW. We sure as hell can't be WWE because that's not what people want right now. So we have to be different. We have to present a different product. With this whole tournament, I thought that they did, and I thought that the guy that embodies that above anybody is Tracy Williams. He's actually a guy who's very believable. He's, I don't know like how good looking he is on a scale of 1 to 10 or anything like that, but I think he's a good poster boy. And I think that like he just wrestles that style that Ring of Honor looks for and everything like that. But so does Gresham at the same time. And I understood why they went with Gresham because popularity wise in Ring of Honor, he's definitely probably one of the most popular. And he's someone that they can rely on a lot. Like you can tell that he's very loyal and dedicated to Ring of Honor. I thought that if any, I thought it was going to come down to Jay Lethal and Gresham because that looked like what they were going for with the major storyline at the beginning of this whole thing. And I'm glad that they went with Williams though because I don't think it hurt him at all to lose or anything like that. I mean, there's got to be a winner and there's got to be a loser,
Right.
So,
And I hate that, sort of TNA main event booking where nobody wins and nobody loses ever.
yeah,
And, and there's egos everywhere and you can't have a clean finish. Williams lost here, but he pushed Gresham to the absolute limit and nobody else in the tournament was able to do that. I think they both look great coming out of this. I like Gresham. I like Williams more. Williams is probably my favorite guy outside of the major companies right now. But I really enjoyed everything that Gresham did here in this tournament. I love the gimmick. The octopus thing is awesome. I love that he comes out with the mask and everything. It's fantastic. Um, so I am a huge fan of all of that, and I see why they went with Gresham. It's a good choice. Really, out of the everybody in the top four, I don't think there was a bad choice. Josh Woods would have been an out of nowhere kind of, you know, he comes in as the underdog and takes everything. Jay Lethal would have been a safe choice. I'm glad that they didn't go with him. But he wouldn't have been a bad choice. He would have just been the safe choice. It would have
true.
been like, oh, well, Jay Lethal won. Imagine that. But it would have been really predictable. He's the veteran here. But I wouldn't have been upset with any of the top four winning. I'm definitely not. I definitely love this tournament, and I love the way that it shook out. And I'm not opposed to covering more Ring of Honor stuff in the future. Hopefully, once they get some crowds back in.
Yeah.
Did
Maybe.
you have any closing thoughts on the tournament?
Well, I was going to add to that, maybe in the near future, we could do like some classic Ring of Honor matches that I'm just like, dude, you need to watch these matches and stuff like that. So maybe we could do that.
Yeah.
Dude, from the start, like I said, when this really kind of all started, when I saw it originally, and was just like, man, people need to be talking about this. Like, I think it's a different way of presenting wrestling, but while it's also kind of old school presenting wrestling as well. Like I said, it feels like you're at a sporting event. And that's been my frustration with AEW in ways, is because it's like, I don't mind if you want to go toward the more entertaining side of wrestling, but don't sit there in interviews after interviews and say, hey, we're going to present a sports based product. This is going to be sports wrestling. And then, you've got guys disappearing and kidnapping people. And, you have arcade fights and exploding rings. I'm like, that's not sport. That's entertainment wrestling, which is fine. And if it's done in the right way and stuff like that, and that's a different, story for a different day. But when I see this, I'm like, okay, this is sports. This is a sports based presentation. This feels like I'm at a UFC event kind of thing. Like
Right.
it feels like these guys are fighting. And that's what I wanted people to kind of see from this tournament is like this is what I'm thinking of when they, say sport wrestling. And I always have thought Ring of Honor has done a great job. Even when they had the Young Bucks and Cody and stuff. Well, Cody to me always does that, but the Young Bucks, like even the Young Bucks felt like they were in a wrestling match, especially when they fought teams like Red Dragon and stuff like that in Ring of Honor, which was a great rivalry for them. So I think people sleep on Ring of Honor way too much. I think that, if you're really looking for a different type of presentation, you need to check out Ring of Honor. And I get why some people don't really care that much about Ring of Honor. Like they immediately see kind of the production of Ring of Honor. And it's not the most expensive production. Let's be honest. Like I said, AEW and WWE far outseed them on that. But it's kind of like an old NWA presentation of it.
And I don't think their production value is bad. I think a lot of the interviews and build up videos and stuff they do are very good. They may not have crazy pyro and everything, but I mean they've got nice entrance videos and nice entrance music, and I mean I really care for it a lot. I really have enjoyed it, and like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing how a live crowd would react to these sorts of things if they do another tournament or anything like that. Um, but yeah, this has been a blast covering this tournament. We have some great stuff coming up. We've got our top 5 WrestleManias list coming up. We've got the WWE Legends series from A&E that's going to start on April 18th. So we're going to be covering those each week. So we're going to cover those as they come out. It's going to be incredible. They're going to be 2-hour documentaries from A&E, which WWE has input on these, but they're not produced by WWE, and that makes me like them a lot more.
Yeah.
They're going to be covering Stone Cold Steve Austin, Macho Man Randy Savage, Rowdy Piper, Booker T, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Mick Foley, and the Ultimate Warrior. So those are the 8 episodes.
And literally every single person that they just named, I love.
Yeah.
The Ultimate Warrior. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, I'm not really a huge fan of two of those guys. But anyway, so interesting thing I found out today. What's that?
Who's the other one?
Oh, I don't like Bret Hart.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, I don't really like Bret Hart.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I came into wrestling in a time where if you were on the way out, you dropped the title, and I don't care if you don't like the guy or whatever. Um, regardless of whether Vince McMahon screwed over Bret Hart or because he did, or Shawn Michaels was an asshole. I've lost a lot of wrestling matches to people I don't care for, and if you're leaving, you're on the way out. You give the other guy the rub on the way out, and that's how it is. And I don't think there's any excuse for breaking that rule.
And I can agree with that. I think that Brett, definitely did take the business a little bit too seriously, and I think they're going to cover a lot of that.
Yeah, probably.
He has no he has never backed off of that statement. He still says the same things in interviews pretty much. So we'll see what happens, dude. I'm looking forward to covering that one, but the one I think I'm most looking forward to, just because he's definitely one of my all-time favorites, is Stone Cold.
I'm looking forward to the Stone Cold one. Definitely looking forward to the Macho Man one. Definitely looking forward to the Booker T one.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I found out that they're doing actual pre-screenings for these where they have like a drive-in theater or whatever, and you can come out and watch it. And they're kind of like touring around the country. And the Booker T episode, they're going to do that one here in Atlanta, and so I'm going to try to go see it live. I'm really really hyped about that. So we can see what day it is. Maybe we could both go. We could drop an advanced review out there. That would be fantastic.
That would be amazing if we could do that.
Yeah. So that's probably going to be our April and May right there, folks. That's 8 episodes. And then once we're done with that, we've got a lot out there to talk about. Dark Side of the Ring's coming back up. WWE's doing the Icon series, so we've always got that we can talk about. A lot of people have asked about that. So there's just a ton of stuff coming up, guys. So stay tuned with us. It was really fun covering this tournament, and I think we're gonna wrap this one on up. Caleb, man, thanks for joining me here once again to wrap this up.
Absolutely. Thank you for using my suggestion and everything like that. And I hope everyone goes and checks out Ring of Honor. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. You won't regret it. So, right here from the SWN, thank you, Caleb Stovall. I'm James Caleb Kitchens. And that, folks, that's the Ring of Honor Pure Championship Tournament. And this has been an Evolved Review.